Good morning and welcome to SimWorld today, a Wednesday morning, April 16th. We've got some semblance of finality in college basketball as the regular season draws closer to its conclusion. So to talk some of that, we've got every Wednesday, Sniper J in the building. Good morning, Sniper. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here. I'm ready to talk some SimWorld U basketball.
Well, let's start with we have ourselves, I believe, our first confirmed conference championship game, and that is in the Big East. There's work to be done in pretty much every other conference, but not in the Big East, where Villanova's win last night, their eighth in a row, a rally back against Butler, paired with Georgetown's win earlier in the day, has clinched ourselves a Big East championship game that will feature Villanova and Georgetown. That means Villanova guaranteed, not going to be a shock here, they were going to get in anyway, but guaranteed a spot in Hoopsteria. Your takeaways from this closing stretch and a look ahead, what are you looking for in the championship game?
I'm looking to see how dominant Villanova is going to be because we watched them tonight, and in that first half, let's be honest, they was not dominant. They
No.
were unimpressive, and they did not look good against a zone. So I look for Georgetown to play some zone, and I want to see if how Villanova responds in this championship game because they are the number one team in the country, right? March, they should be dominant over their conference, like well over it. But it didn't seem like that today in the game they played. So in this title game, I'm looking to see if Villanova could reinsert their dominance.
Well, they didn't look like that in the first half. They definitely looked dominant in the second half. 52 to 35. I was on the call with Sam. The game, it flipped, and it was really a matter of Villanova saying, Travion Timms, you had an awesome, I think he scored 20, 22 points in the first half. Good job, sir, that averages 12 points a game. We don't think you're going to do that for 40 minutes. And they were right. And they got a huge night from Noah Jackson, who was great from downtown. They got a huge night from Jamarius Lippman. But it continued to be, you could tell when Justin Bell was on the floor and when Justin Bell wasn't. In 21 points from him, plus 16, it was obvious. When he was sitting, this team just did not have the same type of offense. For me, Villanova, they win a conference championship. They're national championship favorite based off what Justin Bell does, which is high praise for a freshman in a class where we're looking around and we're saying, yeah, but what about Cooper Flagg or Cooper Kingy Cross or Jamison Johnson, Trey Turner? Justin Bell has been incredible. I think in this one, I like Villanova because they've just been more consistent, which Sniper feels kind of weird to say because Georgetown's 10-3 in conference play. They've won 5 games in a row, but Villanova they don't slip up. They've been consistent. Their offense is great. Their defense plays efficient when they need them to. I really like Villanova, which shouldn't be a surprise. They're number one team in the country, but I still like them a lot in that Big East title game.
No questions asked. I couldn't agree with you more. There's no discredit to the other team, but Villanova is absolutely the favorite.
Just a real quick note on Butler. I think it's part of the reason why I've been skeptical of Butler is I just don't know who's going to be their guy. And you don't need to have somebody scoring 21 points, right? But the fact that Travion Timms, his big night, a guy that shoots under 40% from the floor, that's what you're reliant on to make runs. Today was the perfect reason of why I don't know that I can trust Butler to win more than getting out of the first weekend. They're probably going to end up as a 4 seed, so they should win their first game. Their second game, I think, is honestly going to be a tough one. It's probably going to be a 4-5 matchup. I don't know that I can trust them to win much more than one game in Hoopsteria.
Especially if they can't put two halves together
Yeah. No.
like they couldn't tonight.
No, tale of two halves most certainly for that squad. All right, let's head to the American Conference for another surprise. So we don't have a conference championship game fully set. Memphis, we know, is there. Second spot in the title game will come down to the final week because both Princeton and Jackson State won. And it's possible a Princeton win and a Jackson State loss Jackson State would have the same number of wins, 10, but they'd have 5 losses. So it'll still come down to that. But Jackson State has now won 8 games in a row. They're 18-11 overall, 10-4 on the season. They have moved from being a team that might be on the fridge of getting into Hoopsteria, Sniper, to being a team that's probably going to be a top 5 seed come Hoopsteria, and they have a chance to play for a conference championship game against Memphis. What are your thoughts, and how serious is Jackson State as a team, not only in the American but also nationally?
Let me tell you this, Marsh. We have to give credit where credit is due on this one. Mo Williams, the head coach of Jackson State, has his boys playing phenomenal ball to end the season. I think this team is very serious. We've seen them early in the season have this same type of energy and spurt ability. And now I think they got it back, and they got it back at the perfect time going into Hoopsteria. I think this Jackson State team is a Sweet 16, maybe Elite 8 type of team,
Ooh.
especially with hold on, Mark, just let me keep going.
No,
Especially
please
with this
do.
type of momentum. D Woodley is the guy. He's the guy. You can't stop him. He scores, and he's going to keep scoring. He's going to score his way to the Elite Eight and possibly the first round of the SWBA draft. And you heard it here first.
My the the fact that Jackson State, you got them as a potential Elite Eight squad. Is it just because of D Woodley? You said riding momentum, D Woodley. Is there anything else? Because I look at this team and it's everything that Butler could be, but better at. Right? They've got a defense that can
Hmm.
play really good, 36th in the country. But they've got a team that can shoot the ball well from the floor, 14th percent. They don't shoot the three ball well. I'll give you that. But they also have the difference being D Woodley, a guy that's averaging 17. He had a double double, nearly. He was what, 3 rebounds I think away from a triple double the last time out. I mean, against SMU, he had 23, 7, and 10 in 40 minutes. Look, it's high volume, but Jackson State kind of to me, Sniper. Now I don't know if I'm as brave as you to say Elite Eight, but they fit that. We play really good defense, and we've got a guy who can go out there and make buckets for us, and that's Steve Woodley. Is that where you're coming from on them, or do you see something different?
That's exactly where I'm coming from. And I'm standing on business with the confidence. I'm standing on business with the HBCU community. I'm standing on business with Mo Williams. I'm standing on business with D. Woodley. Jackson State is going to the Elite Eight, Marsh.
Ooh, it's not even they could. It's now a confirmation. Is Jackson State's turnaround from like they were 10-11 before this thing started, and I've said 500 gets you into hoopsteria. 1 to 2 games below 500 probably still gets you into hoopsteria. Jackson State was in the bubble. Is this the most surprising turnaround in an 8 game span to go from a potential bubble team to now they're a top 25 team in the country? They're probably going to end up as a 4 or 5. Maybe they sneak to 3. They'd have to beat Memphis to get there, but it's not impossible to happen right now. Is this the most impressive turnaround you've seen from a program in a very short period of time within a season?
From the big picture, yes, it is. But looking from this season, Marsh, and Jackson State, no, it's not. We've seen Jackson State beat quality teams early in the year. And yes, they had their midseason slump, and their midseason slump kind of carried over a little more than what we liked, but they're back now. The Jackson State Tigers are back now, Marsh.
They are certainly rolling. Speaking of back, but I guess not really speaking of back at all, because I can't seem to figure out what's going on in the Big Ten as Illinois lost last night to Minnesota 71-63. D'Angelo Jordan has a huge double-double. It doesn't matter because even though a bad night from Donald Lafetti, Minnesota still ends up running away with this thing in the second half. And so this Big Ten doesn't make sense, right? I mean, it makes sense, but it's just chaos, right? Wisconsin is 7-3, 12-14 overall, #1 team in the Big Ten. They're the only team that's got a chance to play in a conference championship game that actually needs the conference championship game to get into Hoopsteria. Illinois is 8-4, Purdue and Michigan are 6-4 each. Minnesota's 7-5. I can't figure out. And by the way, the only team that's ranked in the Big Ten or in the Big Ten is Maryland at 22. They're not going to make the conference championship game. And Iowa, who's number 13, and they're 4-7 in conference play with those 5 losses without Lamarion Sherwood. Make this conference make sense to me because I can't make heads or tails of it.
You know, what I think about this conference is I think it's very good competition, and it's evenly spread out. I would say 1 through 10. Any team 1 through 10 could win any game on any night, and this conference has proven that since the start. Now, I am shocked to see Wisconsin up here with a losing record at
Yeah.
#1. That is a shocking, but they have to play their way into Houston, and what better way to do that to win a conference title? That's a guaranteed bid.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how this is all going to turn out. I really can't make sense of it. I think it's crazy how Iowa loses their star player, drops, and is still ranked this high, in my opinion.
I think the only reason Iowa's ranked is now 13 seems a little aggressive for the one game return of Lamarian Sherwood, but this team is a national championship contender with Lamarian Sherwood, right? The five game losing streak comes only when he's at now. They needed this last win. I think the Big Ten. I think it's two things, right? I think on the first hand, I think we're gonna. I'm not gonna say. I think we're gonna see 10 teams in the Big Ten make hoops area. We might see all 12 teams in the Big Ten make hoops area, but I don't think any of them are making it out of the first weekend because unless they get matched up against one another, I don't trust Maryland. Iowa can do it, but I've been skeptical of this team on the long run. And where they get ranked now, and this was the big problem, was if they lose, which they did, they're gonna fall in Hoopsteria ranking. The committee could put them in a less than advantageous spot. This is a team that should have been penciled in as a top 2 seed. Now they might be a 3, 4, 5 seed. I don't know that a single team of, and I'll go out and say it, Big Ten team does not escape opening weekend. That's where this is trending.
Ooh. Man, so wait, Marsh, before you get the moving quick on me. So you don't believe in CKC? This is what you're saying to me right now. You don't believe in CKC. You don't believe in
I believe in CKC.
Ifedi.
I believe in Donald DeFetti. I believe in Lamarian Sherwood. I think those are 3 guys that are lottery picks. Okay.
Okay.
I don't believe in the rest of those rosters. Right? There's a reason that Maryland is 16-9. There's a reason that Minnesota is 15-10. Hell, add D'Angelo Jordan to that list. I believe in D'Angelo Jordan. I think the collection of talent in the Big Ten is incredible. And maybe, Sniper, this, and we just haven't been able to see it yet, but this conference is just, it's just a bare knuckle brawl, and everyone's beating up on one another, so we don't get the benefit of like an Alabama or a Kentucky who like gets to feast on Georgia, Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee, or Pac-12, where you get to Washington and Stanford. Like maybe it's because the Big Ten is that would be where I could be proven wrong, right? Is that the Big Ten is just so deep that I don't realize that. I don't have the wherewithal to say, no, this conference is just stacked, and that's why everybody's 500 or around there. Maybe that's it. But the fact that Wisconsin, who was 5-11 in non-conference play, is now 7-3. 5-11. It's not like everyone here was like 17-1 starting conference play. Wisconsin was 5-11, and they're 7-3 in conference play. That's to me what gives me this pause of like, I don't know that they're beating up on each other because they're super good. I feel like they're beating up on each other since there's just no separation between them, and they're all just kind of mediocre. Is that a more fair assessment from your standpoint?
That is a very fair assessment. I cannot agree with that. I think CKC in Maryland escapes for first weekend. I think Lamarian Sherwood escapes the first 2 weekends. Now, Minnesota, on the other hand, they might be out. The rest of the conference might be out of there, but I think the Big Ten has 2 teams that could make a legitimate push and represent their conference well in Hoopsteria.
And I might be going too far. The limb might be getting a little narrow where I'm at right now. Because, yes, Iowa, when Sherwood's on, I mean, that team is just a joy to watch. And it's tough to say this without even seeing anybody play yet. So I might be getting a little ahead of the skis on that one, but it's out there. We'll have to stand by at least some of it. But I'm probably getting proven wrong. But I guess that just underscores my lack of trust in this conference. All right, we've got a week left, a couple weeks left, 2 weeks left, I think, of the regular season. Anything you want to point out that we should be paying attention to here?
I would say to pay attention to the middle of these conferences. These teams are fighting for their lives at this
Mm-hmm.
point, right? It's you got these bubble teams. These are some really good games that may go unnoticed. So if you want to see some good basketball, some really competitive basketball, go look at these teams like you said that is like 5 games below 500, 3 games below 500. These are going to be some interesting basketball games, and the committee is going to have to start making some decisions on which conference games or which conferences mean more than the others, and it's going to be so interesting when this bracket drops, because then you really gonna know which conference stands where and which team wins were more valuable than the others.
Yeah, we are in a position right now where there is a whole bunch of hoopsteria fringe or bubble team wins are really coming into play right now. So I'm with you there. The middle of the each conference is going to be entertaining. All right, Sniper, appreciate you coming on. Everyone can watch you and hear from you. Where exactly? Remind us for that.
Oh yes, if you're not locked in with the Court Journal drop every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and that's where you learn basketball. We're gonna get some more Court Journals on the Court Journal. So if you're not there, you're really square. And if you want to catch me in the breeze, check out Sniper Snippets. It may drop, it may not drop. You just have to catch it there.
Look, it's one of my favorite parts of the end of the night is the snippets. So I'm always looking out for them. Sniper, appreciate having you on. Appreciate everyone tuning in here on SimWorld TV. The only place you can see the game, be the game.